Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video, and welcome to episode 132 of Ask Boss Bounty. Regular viewers of this channel will know that this is the weekly Q&A series that drops every Sunday, but if you're new to the channel and you want your question answered, leave your question in the comment section below and hopefully you'll be featured next week. Also, if you do happen to enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a like down below because that helps the video and the channel. And with all that being said, let's just get straight on to the first question. Steve Martin says, "Hi Tim, BB and Little Bossk. Question for next week. Do you know what VC 241 is? We need a new vintage collection Bossk. Cheers, mate." We absolutely do. I don't know what VC 241 is yet. I have a suspicion that it'll probably be Darth Vader from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. That's the last figure for the vintage collection for the Obi-Wan series that needs to be revealed. It will be revealed on one of the Obi-Wan Wednesdays. But if you do want to know about other VC numbers, then I have a visual guide on my website. I leave a link to that in pretty much every video. It's in the description below. You can see it there, and I update it all the time with all the new images of the new card back and with any numbers that we find out. So check that out after this video. Take a look, see what you think, put it in your bookmarks, and then you can keep checking. And obviously, as I say, I do update it as often as I can. Honor232 says, question for next week. With the release of the Phase 1 Clones 4-pack, repack of Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan and Mace, and finally getting Anakin, do you find it satisfying for the 20th celebration of Attack of the Clones or not? And if not, what are some of the things that they should have released? Also, do you think we'll get any more Attack of the Clones content this year? I'm not too sure that we'll get any more this year. As far as I'm aware, that's all we're getting. And am I happy with it? I'm never happy with what we get. I always think that we should be getting more. And I think it is a bit of a missed opportunity not to give us a brand new Jango Fett or Count Dooku. I mean, so many people are screaming out for Count Dooku. We really need him in the vintage collection. So missed opportunity for those two perhaps. However, we are getting the Anakin, and the Clones 4-pack is good, you know, but as I say, I'm never happy with that. I always want more. CBZ says, great video, boss, as always. These videos are the highlights of my Sunday. Thank you so much. Did you see the Bad Batch Season 2 trailer and all of the potential figures that we could get from it? And also, did you see the reveal of the new Micro Galaxy Squadron line by Jazzwares? They're very similar to the classic Action Fleet ships, and I'm really excited for it. Yeah, so they're similar to the Micro Machines, we call them over here. I'm not too sure if that's what they're called over there. Very similar to Micro Machines. Am I going to collect them? Not at the moment. It's one of those things, isn't it? They look pretty good. I would like to collect them, but there's just too much other stuff that I want really in action figure form. So I can't go down to an even smaller scale. I mean, there's just too much. In terms of the Bad Batch Season 2, yes, I did see the trailer. It looked really good. And in terms of figures that we could get from it, it did make me giggle. I mean, always with Star Wars, they seem to like change little things, don't they? Because they've always got the toys in mind. And the Bad Batch crew look pretty much completely different. I mean, well, I say completely different. They've got some orange flashes on their armor and things like that. And Omega looks completely different, doesn't she? She's got like a helmet on and everything now. So that's screaming for the Black Series to be updated with all of those, you know. So maybe that with the vintage collection, I know that we've got Hunter as a pipeline character. Maybe we'll get the Season 2 version of him. I don't know, with like the orange bits on his armor. We'll have to wait and see. But sure enough, there was plenty of things in there that I would like to see in action figure form. And I think I spied Scorch in there. Was he in Season 1? I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure I saw Scorch there. So loads to look forward to. And Jackson Smith asks me, did I see the Andor trailer and what were my thoughts? So the Andor trailer for me was like probably the best thing that I've seen out of everything that we saw from Celebration in terms of trailers and things like that. It looks like, you know, it's aimed at adults a bit more. It's a lot more dark. It's going to be awesome. I really like the look of the female officer in white. She looked cool. So I'm just hoping and praying that, you know, it's going to be good and that we're going to get lots of figures from it. I mean, I do like the character of Andor. This is a really good figure as well. And I loved Rogue One. So the fact that they're making like a series about the origins of Cassian, I'm all for that. And it looked really good. Robert Lataley, I think I've pronounced that right, says, question for next week. With the Obi-Wan series happening, do you think we might finally get a New Hope Ben Kenobi in the vintage collection? If so, would you want it to be an all-new sculpt, or is there a repack you would be okay with? Also, what are the chances that Hasbro would do the right thing and use the vastly superior alternate card back that Kenner used instead of the original Kenner card back. Thanks and keep up the great work. Yeah, so Kenner did use this card back here, but later on, when on the Return of the Jedi cards, they did change it. You are right, to the vastly superior image of him standing there with the blue lightsaber. And I've always said many times that I would love Hasbro to do that sort of thing with like variant card backs or something. If you're going to do a new Ben Kenobi, then release him on both cards, and then you can sell him twice to carded collectors, can't you? Whereas if you're an opener, then just the one's fine. But I think obviously with the Obi-Wan series, we've had a few other Obi-Wan themed items come out, but I don't think we're going to get a new Obi-Wan or Ben Kenobi from Star Wars, unfortunately. And if they were, they could look to this guy from the Legacy Collection. It's a really good Obi-Wan. I do like this one. They'd probably have to give him a new head, maybe a few minor adjustments and improvements, and you know, that figure's really, really good. I like that one. But we do come back to the fact that, you know, possibly they may no longer have the Legacy Collection molds, which would explain why we don't really have any of the really, really good Legacy Collection figures in the Vintage Collection at the moment. But that's my 2 pence on it anyway. I would be happy with like an updated version of him. And you are right, absolutely, on the other card back would be ideal. C3PO Concept says, great video. Considering that next HasLab is going to be a Black Series roleplay item, I'm wondering why does this line not include blasters? I have to think that Han Solo's pistol and such would sell great with the hilts and helmets. What do you think? I think you're absolutely right, and I was trying to think why they haven't done this in the past, and I think it must have to be something to do with the fact that they're like they look like real life weapons. And also, I seem to remember somewhere that you can't post even like replica guns to certain countries, so that might hinder them as well. Maybe it's on eBay that you're not allowed to sell that sort of thing. I can't remember exactly where it was, but for some reason, somewhere you're not allowed to post like even like a water pistol, for example, because I don't know, like X-ray machines or something might think it's a real gun. I don't know if that's a real thing, but it would explain why they haven't done that. And absolutely, the Han Solo pistol would be a massive seller instantly, wouldn't they, if they were to create a prop replica of that actually made the sounds and things like that. Rob Pearson says, watch a BB. The April Hasbro pipeline reveal showed we're getting a Clatoonian Raider. Can we assume that this will be the ATST Raider pack-in figure? I'm asking because Xavi has dropped the price of the Merrick X-Wing to £99, so I'm weighing up pulling the trigger, just to get my hands on that magnificent moustache. But if there's a precedent for releasing pack-ins a year or two down the line, I'd be happy to wait. Do you think we'll see a Merrick get his own release? I'm not too sure we will, and I was talking about this with Nick from Only One Kenobi because I know he wanted to open one as well, and essentially it's different because this guy wasn't carded inside that vehicle. He was in a baggie, and that makes it completely different because I think Patrick even mentioned at Celebration that they wanted to get this guy out carded for us collectors. Not that I'm saying that everybody was screaming for that to happen, but obviously the figure's there for them to do. It's an easy one, isn't it? So Merrick is a little bit different in that, and if you look at any of the play sets that have had figures included, none of them have been re-released outside of those sets. So I kind of think that that's how it is, basically. Moon Minerhead says, question for next week. Do you like Stranger Things? Absolutely. I love the series Stranger Things on Netflix. It is awesome. I've caught up now. I've watched all of the episodes of Series 4. I think there's like a little break now until we get the rest of it. I've even got some of the figures there from Series 1. These were awesome figures. Really like these here. Look, there's a complete set of them, and there was even some chase figures to hunt down and things like that. So really like those. Really love the series. Yeah, it's brilliant. Andy McGlashan says, question for next week. Since the pipeline reveal of Paz Vizsla had the image of him with his energy shield, do you think that'll be one of his accessories? I think that's probably a safe bet, and I think they may want to label that box Book of Boba Fett to get more stuff out in the Book of Boba Fett line, if you like. And this just shows you, doesn't it, with the vintage collection, sometimes you have to wait longer than you would like, and the Black Series get things first, but ultimately, you know, we're going to get one, hopefully, with, as you say, with the shield, maybe a few other accessories and things like that, which will be pretty cool. Having said that, Hasbro will probably release the Black Series one again with a shield, no doubt. But yeah, I think you're onto something there. I think that's probably going to happen. Hopefully anyway. We'll have to wait and see. Vader's Watch says, question for next week. What's your favourite sort of pizza and who is your favourite villain from the Star Wars universe? Keep up the great work as always. Favourite pizza, anything that hasn't got pineapple on it. No, but seriously, yeah, I always go for like a meat feast, basically. That's how I like my pizza. And in terms of villain from Star Wars, it's got to be Vader. I mean, he's probably the biggest villain in any franchise. So yeah, Vader all the way. Daniel Coleman says, love the show. Big fan of the work you do. Thank you so much. Question for the next video. I know the HasLab backed items have not been so popular. How would you feel about a HasLab Jawa Sandcrawler? Maybe it could open up more than the original. Maybe a little more intricate inside. Maybe packed in with a special droid or two. Absolutely. I did a whole video about my most wanted HasLabs, and the Sandcrawler came out on top. I would, it's a no-brainer for me. It's a big vehicle. This is what I think HasLabs should be reserved for, personally. And I might go on a little mini rant now with the fact that it's a lightsaber. I just don't understand the logic behind doing a lightsaber as a HasLab. And if I'm brutally honest, I really didn't see the logic of doing the Rancor as a HasLab either. Those two items for me should just be a retail item. They are not like a dream item that somebody, when they pitched HasLab, they said that HasLab was for dream items that we couldn't necessarily do at retail. Now, the Rancor for me in the Black Series and that lightsaber, they're not dream items. They haven't been something that people have been wanting for years and years and years. When you look at the sail barge, people had been asking that for absolutely years. And of course, the Razor Crest was always going to work because the Mandalorian was such a massive hit. And it was already an iconic spaceship in the Star Wars universe. So, of course, that was going to work. And also, you've got lots of figures that you can sort of display with it, both with the barge and the Razor Crest. So I really don't understand why Hasbro are pushing these things to HasLab, because I looked at it today and the HasLab Lightsaber, I think it might have even gone down again in backers. I swear it is near 1,000 and now it's like 950 something when I last looked. I swear it's gone down, and is it going to hit 5,000 backers? I don't know, because as I said, to me it's just not a dream item. I know I'm biased with this, but if you really think about it, the HasLabs should be reserved for the vintage collection, basically, giving collectors like a huge vehicle like the Sandcrawler, or a huge diorama piece like the Cantina, or a Star Destroyer or something massive that you can display with your 3 3/4 figures. It just doesn't work with a 6-inch line because the figures are too big. So anyway, that's my mini rant about it. I just don't understand it. HasLabs for me were looking amazing. You've got, for the vintage collection, and then the last few that they've done for Star Wars, I just can't get my head around it, if I'm honest. My name is not Rick says, question for next week. Do you think we'll get an Andor Trooper 4-pack and a new Imperial Officer sculpt next year? Keep up the great work. I'm not too sure about the Andor Trooper 4-pack, and as for the new Imperial Officer sculpt, I think that might be a possibility, and that's all I'm going to say on that matter, but keep your fingers crossed because it might just come true. Chris Kolb says, hi BB, love the content you put out, whether it's Ask BB series, live streams, reveals or Ewok raves. Question for next week, if Hasbro were to release a new Farmboy Luke in TVC, would you want soft goods? Thanks. PS, if Hasbro see this, please make a TVC clone Commando. Bad Batch would be perfect excuse to release the basic all-white version, and then there'd be so many repaint, gaming greats possibilities. Yeah, absolutely. They need to get the sculpt in first, and then they can repaint him so many times in the Gaming Greats line. That's basically how it would work. In terms of Luke Farmboy, I'm really torn on this one, but I think ultimately if I had to pick, I would want the soft goods tunic. But I would definitely want it in a better material than they've done before. I wouldn't want it like all fluffy, like he's wearing a dressing gown or something. Something a bit like this would be ideal. This sort of material would be better. Logan W says, question for next week. With the Phase 2 clean clone troopers showing up in the Andor trailer, do you think our possibilities of getting a slick TVC Phase 2 clones went up? Love the videos. Keep up the good work. I most definitely think that the possibilities have gone up. Let's just put it that way. Brendan Draper says, question for next week. With Rebels characters in Ahsoka, will we finally get the Ghost crew? So I don't know whether you saw it, guys, but at Celebration there was a leaked trailer for the Ahsoka show, and within that you had Sabine, you had an image of Ezra, and you also had Hera as well. Now, in terms of the Ghost crew, you know, Kanan, I think, is dead, spoiler alert, so we possibly won't get him. Zeb wasn't shown as far as I'm aware, but I think it's more than likely that you will get those three that I've mentioned at some point in the Vintage Collection because they are in the Ahsoka show. And it's like I've always said about the Rebel show, it was too far in the past now for them, you know, it's not current enough for them to bring those out. But if they're going to be in a live action show, then you can bet your bottom dollar they'll be on the cards. And I think Emily at Celebration was alluding to that as well. She didn't really want to sort of say too much, but I think you can pretty much gather that they are definitely on the minds of the Hasbro team. Reckless Deck says, hello Tim, first, happy birthday to little Bossk. I hope he understands that he'll be turning 18 and still be referred to as little Bossk by the entire internet. Yeah, quite possibly. Second, I am repeating my question from last week because it's so good and you rejected it. Sorry about that, my friend. What are your favourite homemade figure upgrades and remixes you've made to your loose figures? What head swaps have you done to eliminate janky looking head sculpts? What third-party accessories and soft goods have you purchased or made yourself to upgrade their look or kit them out better? Also, can you show them off on camera? So I think this is probably why I didn't pick the question, because when it comes to this sort of thing, I'm not really that talented in terms of making accessories and stuff for my figures. I kind of take them out of the packaging and that's kind of how they are. However, saying that, I did do the head swap for Darth Maul. So I took the Clone Wars Darth Maul and I put it on the Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace. That was a pretty good head swap and I made a video entirely about that, so you know, check that one out instead of me showing it on the camera. Apart from that, I've changed a few cloaks here and there, but I've never really made anything or painted anything or, you know, done any customs or anything like that. I'm just not talented enough. I leave that to other people. July through Nove says, another great video, Bossk. Without revealing too much, can you stomp your foot and wink if the figures for next year maybe include a certain scoundrel? I'm baffled how the Han, Luke and Leia are so absent from TVC, especially on a New Hope card's appearance. Especially Han. But I'll take an all-new Return of the Jedi version in a heartbeat. Okay, so I'm not aware of any of those figures or characters coming out on a New Hope card, but let's see what happens for Return of the Jedi. Because I think a lot of people complained, didn't they, about them re-releasing that pretty awful Return of the Jedi one. This guy, basically, the Andor version. So let's see what they do with that. And then if they do update that figure, then that'll give them the new body sculpt to perhaps do the others. So let's see what happens, shall we? All right then, guys, that's all we've got time for this week. If you want a question answered next week, please leave it in the comment section below and hopefully you'll be featured next week. Thank you all for watching and thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members. Your support means a great deal to me. And I'm loving the conversations that we're having in the Discord channel and things like that. So if you want to be a channel member or Patreon supporters, links are in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.